Now, normally I don't do this, and by this I mean critiquing an online multiplayer game. I've reviewed multiplayer stuff before, but usually I stick to single player campaigns or at least single player experiences inside bigger games. That's because multiplayer is a complete mess. One person's experience can be completely different from another's. Maybe you've had a blast, maybe your lobbies were full of sweats, maybe you got spawn killed 6 times in a row. Your skill, your connection, even whether you've got friends online can completely change how you feel about the game. So why listen to me? Why trust some guy who usually talks about single player experiences? Well, believe it or not, my roots are in shooters. I grew up in an era where gamer tags were filled with XX 420 no-scope, nonsense, racist and edgy jokes, and the lobbies of Modern Warfare 2 were basically a social experiment in bullying squeakers like me. I cut my teeth in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, dabbled in Bad Company 2 back in the day, and like a lot of you, I'm now in my mid-20s to mid-30s, the golden age bracket of washed up veterans still trying to pretend our reflexes aren't going downhill. And I'm not amazing, but I'm above average. I consistently finish in the top third of the leaderboard, often top 5 in longer games, and I don't need to spend the entire round camping in a tank or a helicopter to do it. So when I tell you how Battlefield 6 feels to play, I'm doing it from that perspective, that view. I'm trying to paint a picture so you can see why I like and don't like this game. Not to flex or show you how shitty I am, it's to help you understand how I've come to the opinions that I have about this game. And they're open for change, of course. I love a chin wag in the comments, so by all means, let me know how wrong I am. I'm not a pro, not a casual who just discovered the genre. I'm somewhere in between. And that's the point of this video. Based on the beta, should you buy Battlefield 6 at launch? Whether you're a diehard who survived 2042, someone who last played Battlefield 1, or maybe a newcomer wondering what the hype is all about. Is it worth your time and your money? Clarify this now. This is the beta, there will be finite tuning of numbers, but we can't expect massive gameplay overhauls. So take this all with a grain of salt because a lot of this can change and probably will. So let's start with the most important thing, how it feels to shoot. And honestly, it feels like Battlefield. That's always been one of the franchise's strengths, even in 2042, which had a rough launch otherwise. Gameplay here is smooth, recoil is noticeable but very manageable, and attachments do their job at making changes to how the guns all feel. The guns themselves at least feel distinct. ARs, SMGs, DMRs, snipers and LMGs all have different personality. The carbines just feel like ARs, so I'm confused about what's going on there. But weapon balance, yeah, that needs work. The damage drop-off range right now feels way too uniform. For example, ARs start dropping off damage way too early, like 20 meters, which makes no sense. LMGs and SMGs are following similar curves. These guns should each have unique profiles, not sharing identical damage fall off. My AR should be able to take a gunfight at 20 meters and have a similar damage profile to a gunfight at 10 meters. It just doesn't make sense to me that there's this uniform in damage drop off between ARs, SMGs and LMGs. Even though the numbers are different, the range drop off is all the same. It's this 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, 40 meters, 70 meters, etc. You get the idea. They all drop off at these similar points. And then there's the elephant in the room, the shotguns. Everyone's already complaining about them on these smaller, tighter beta maps. They dominate. In the training range, I was one-shotting people with headshots at 10 meters, which is crazy. Yes, in real life, shotguns have more range than most games allow, but when you're getting blasted across a medium-sized room, it feels absurd. They'll need to tweak that before launch. I even felt bad using the shotguns just to get the footage for this video. It's just too unfair. Now the vehicles. Classic Battlefield. Honestly, the little time I've had in them, they feel basically the same as always. I didn't get enough of a hands-on with tanks or aircrafts to give a deep dive, but they handle like Battlefield vehicles. At least that's what I've heard and seen, but I personally haven't experienced it, so I really can't comment on this. If you like vehicle play, it's here, but if you hate getting blown up by vehicles, well, that's here too. So, I don't know. take it all how it is. The maps in the beta were solid. Destruction is back in a big way and it feels closer to Battlefield 3 than 2042. It's not quite Bad Company 2 levels of chaos, but when a building starts collapsing in an objective with both teams fighting inside, absolute madness in the best way possible. There is no Levolution from Battlefield 4, at least that we know of yet, but the destruction is just so good that it's back in Battlefield. This is what it's all about. The only downside is that the beta maps were all small to medium sized. That meant long range firefights and proper sniping weren't really showcased except on Liberation Peak, which turned into Duck Hunt with snipers. Hopefully the full game has those sprawling large scale maps Battlefield is famous for, while also not having the same size maps as 2042, which often meant you were running for 5 minutes between the chaos. Now, this is where I have my major issue. The free choice of weapons across all classes is a big mistake. Back in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, the classes felt unique because they had weapon restrictions. If you played Recon, you had to snipe or use a DMR. That was the trade-off for having a spawn beacon and a UAV. Assault players had rifles and medkits, engineers had carbines and rockets, support had LMGs and ammo. You chose a class because you liked the gunplay and the utility it gave, your role and identity. Now you can slap on an SMG on Recon, plop down a beacon and basically have no reason to ever play anything else in objective modes. Assault feels especially pointless. It's basically the solo queue class, because the self-healing is only useful for you if you don't trust random teammates to revive you. Which is valid, except for the fact that if you're playing with competent people, they should be doing this, and so should you. In coordinated squad play, Assault gets outclassed by Support and Recon every single time. You bring one Recon to anchor the squad and then 3 support classes to push, and you all then swap to Engineer if there is a tank bothering you. It's basic team coordination that makes this game great, but that's the issue. With any and every gun on every class, there is no drawback in this strategy. The Recon player isn't hindered because they have to anchor the squad and use a sniper rifle, because they can just equip anything. This was by choice way back when they first introduced this, but now I think they need to go back. The drawback at least made it interesting, something you had to work with, because now you just pick the class that best suits the situation and swap to whatever weapon you're using. End of story. And don't even get me started on combining medic and ammo rolls into one support class. Reviving people while also running an LMG and tossing ammo crates is just weird. These are two distinctive playstyles jammed together. You'll either have the support who ignores revives or the support who doesn't care about ammo. Both frustrating. Honestly, I'd rather the Assault have the ammo roll and support just stuck to healing. And please let us edit loadouts in the lobby between matches. The fact that you have to back out to change a gun setup is ridiculous. But at the end of the day, Battlefield is about team play, and that's the biggest thing to understand before you buy. If you're going to play solo with randoms, you can have fun, sure. I've hopped on for a round or two by myself and had a decent time. But the real Battlefield experience, the one that makes it unforgettable, is squatting up with friends, when you're communicating, pushing objectives together, reviving each other and coordinating vehicles. The game absolutely shines. So if your friends are thinking about picking it up and you've got at least a small squad to roll with, I'd say it's absolutely worth grabbing, even if you only get 100 hours out of it before moving on. Those hours will be some of the best multiplayer fun you've ever had, at least in a long time. So should you buy Battlefield 6 at launch? Here's my honest take. Don't pre-order. In 2025, pre-ordering is basically gambling. Too many games overpromise and underdeliver, and you're just giving publishers money before they've even proven themselves. That said, if you were ever going to pre-order a multiplayer game, Battlefield 6 might not be a terrible choice. The open beta proves that the foundation is solid. This feels like a Battlefield again. The gunplay is smooth, the destruction is satisfying, the chaos is there. If DICE sticks the landing, then this could be the redemption arc after 2042. Will it have issues at launch? Almost definitely. It's a Battlefield game, but from what I've played, I'd say yes, it's worth buying if you're even a little interested, especially if you've got friends ready to squad up. 2042 was a stumble. but Battlefield 6, this might be one that gets it right. Anyway, that's my take on Battlefield 6's open beta. Let me know in the comments, did you play it? Did you get flashbacks to Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 like I did? Or are you still burning from 2042 waiting this one out? If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, maybe subscribe if you want more reviews and breakdowns like this, and I'll see you in the next one.